As technology begins to shape our world and our futures, predicting the challenges and opportunities it may bring is now more important than ever. ACI Learning's keynote speaker Ian Khan presents the emerging trends across industries while challenging you to face inconvenient truths and bold ideas. Now, here's 3 times TEDx speaker, author, Forbes contributor, and featured technology futurist on CNN, Ian Khan.
Hey friends, welcome to this amazing conference. I hope wherever you are, you're sitting comfortably, you've got water, coffee, everything in front of you. Let me guarantee you that this session is going to be a game changer. I want you to get a paper and pen, take notes, doodle, write stuff down, because some of the insights I'm going to share are going to be fundamental in changing and creating your future, the future of your career, business, practice, and of course, audit. I'm going to talk about many different things today, so please keep the pace up with me. You also have the opportunity of asking questions, commenting, sending feedback, all of that. So stay engaged because I'm here to tell you all about the future. Before I do that, I want to go to the past. I want to take a step back. Here we have the year 2005, and this is the Vatican. This is the Holy See. So for those of you who've gone to Rome, who've gone there, you know how amazing of a place this is. But 2005 was a big year for the Vatican, for the Christian faith in general, and this has nothing to do with religion. It's just an event that happened. In 2005, a new pope had to come in place. They had to put a new pope into place. And you can see all these people who are gathered there, they're taking pictures, and they'll tell their children, their grandchildren that, hey, I was there because it was a historic moment. And you can see they're taking pictures, waving flags. Many people are emotional. And after this, maybe 7 or 8 years later, the same event had to repeat itself. For whatever reasons, another pope had to come into place. But this time around, the world had changed. And you can see there's a sea of devices. There's a sea of iPhones, and everybody's taking pictures, and they're looking at what's happening through their device. And this is the world we live in. In these 7 years back in the day, the world has completely transformed. And since then, since 2013, or since the advent of the smartphone, this entire revolution that has taken place, we are headed into a future that is full of technology, that is incredible because of the opportunities it creates, not just for a specific profession, but across the board. And there's so much to learn, so much to catch up to. And I'm going to talk about many of these things in this session. So are you excited or not? Get your comments coming, all right? So I want to talk to you about the revolutions of the future and the revolutionaries of the future. Now take your wildest guess. What could be the revolutionary of tomorrow? Is it a person? Is it a device? Is it a car? Is it a spaceship? Well, take your guess. Okay, let me tell you what the revolutionary of tomorrow is. So here you go. First time ever in front of an audit audience. The revolutionary of tomorrow is the smart toilet. Yes, a smart toilet. Now, some of you might be thinking, hey, are we in the right conference? Is this an audit conference? Why are we learning about toilets? Well, here's why. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, it says the revolution is in your bathroom. And what I want to do with this session is talk about the world beyond the 4 walls of your profession, beyond audit, because all those things impact your profession. All those things are impacting your clients, your customers, the industries that you serve. And this could potentially be an industry that you serve, right? So this toilet is amazing because it has all the sensors. It has a really good speaker system. It has remote control. It has a camera system. It's got a virtual reality headset, right? You got to be comfortable in the morning, right? This is very important. I'm sorry if some of you are laughing or giggling. Please, it's okay to laugh, all right? Audit professionals have all the rights to laugh. Now, one of the best things about this revolution of the future is not the hardware, but it is the app, because we're all app driven now. We just can't live without an app. Here are some of the things the app does. The app does content analysis. Okay, great. It does diet suggestions. It can contact your physician. But hey, because we live in the era of social media, we just cannot live without each other, especially now that we're super connected because of the pandemic. We want to know where our friends are. So this can do that. It can track your friends. Now, behind all the laughs I'm getting right now, I know, we have to understand that this device could be the future of healthcare. This device is going to accelerate the testing time that it takes to go and get a healthcare test done. In countries and places where healthcare is a challenge, this could really accelerate the pace of change in the healthcare sector. It changes diagnostics. It changes a delivery of healthcare. It changes how you contact your physician. And now that we've been in the pandemic, we know that this is so relevant that you can have a virtual consult with the physician and you can do all these things virtually. And, well, you can also use the app to flush the toilet. So this is a quick insight into the future, right? I can guarantee that anytime this device comes out, many of you will be the first ones to order it. I will be the first one to order it. And this is the disruption that is taking place in the world where we live in, right? Outside the four walls of our profession, of your profession. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the accounting profession, audit in general, and here's some news from recent times. They say that blockchain is going to change taxes. Blockchain accounting is here. They say that artificial intelligence in audit and accounting is going to boost compliance and fraud detection and automation and so on and so forth. In fact, the chair of accounting at George Mason University says that the accountant of today is going to be fundamentally different from the accountant of tomorrow and far, far different from the accountant of yesterday because things are changing really rapidly and it's very difficult to predict what an accountant will be doing 10 years from now. So 2031, it's difficult to predict what you will be doing 10 years from now. You definitely will be doing something. Nobody's saying you're not going to be doing anything. But how will you fulfill your role? What technologies will be available that'll enable automation, that'll facilitate your jobs, that'll facilitate your profession? And we're going to talk about that today in this session. This is probably one of my most favorite people in the world, right? This is Luca Pacioli. Luca Pacioli is the father of modern day accounting, mathematician. He lived 500 years ago, and he was the founder of the modern day accounting methods. He's the creator. And since the last 500 years, believe it or not, accounting has not undergone any major change. Of course, you have computers, you have Excel, you've got different systems you use now. But for 500 years, the basic principles of accounting have remained the same. But now technology is changing that. And Forbes magazine said that a few years ago, that AI and related technologies are going to disrupt accounting in a way that it has never been done in the last 500 years. And that's a big thing, and that's what we're here talking about today. A disruption in accounting is happening at multiple different levels in taxation, assurance, financial management, audit, recruitment, consulting. A lot of these things are happening because of artificial intelligence, because of automation, because of the change in how records are being kept, so on and so forth. So there's multiple things that are impacting the profession today. And that's why the future is being impacted. Let's look at that. Let's look at all of that. But before that, I might ask you a question. And this is not a survey question. This is me just putting questions out there in front of you. Is if I were to ask, how future ready is audit today? How future ready is the accounting profession today? What would you tell me? What would you say? How future ready are you? Well, some of you might say, well, Ian, we use cloud technology because cloud is amazing and we're using the cloud technology to do something. You might also say that we are trying to go paperless and we just want no paper at all. That's been our strategy. We are a paper-free company. We're going to do that. Great. You might also say that we're thinking about using artificial intelligence, and AI is probably, in my humble opinion, one of the most talked about buzzwords in every industry right now. Every industry right now is talking about AI. So great, if you're thinking about using AI, excellent. But quite honestly, my opinion about this entire revolution of different systems, technologies, and whatever is happening right now is I really believe that we live in an era of digital confusion. There's a lot of confusion around what to do, what to buy, what system to get, what technology to work with, what is going to be best for the profession, what is going to be best for our clients, our practice. And this is the confusion that we're living in. Now, they also say that we're living at the cusp of what is known as the fifth industrial revolution. There's the first industrial revolution, invention of the steam engine, the second industrial revolution, invention of electricity, the third industrial revolution, invention of the factory floor and automation, fourth industrial revolution, which is apparently happening now, is man and machine collaborating together, the evolution of technology, IT, computer-driven systems. And now they're also predicting the fifth industrial revolution, where algorithms and artificial intelligence will really change how we do things, and it'll change the face of blue-collar and white-collar jobs forever. And this is all of us. This is you, me, everybody that we know are generally in this category. So if AI is going to change everything, it's going to change how we do things and why we do things, well, what should we do right this second? In order to know that, we have to understand how we got here and then where we're headed. I want to talk about the pace of change. How much acceleration is happening, because it's the bedrock of understanding where we're headed. Okay, this is a graph that goes back 100 years. We're not going to go back talk about 100 years what happened, but this is the pace of change and the improvements that have been made in computers, specifically in microprocessor technology. How do computers now compute faster, and how has their capacity increased from where they were, and where is it going in the future? They say that in the year 2015, computers' capacity surpassed that of the brain power of a mouse. You might not think it's a lot, but because a mouse is a really tiny organism, an animal. But they say that by the year 2023, 2025, the capacity of a computer will be equivalent to that of a human being. Now, we're getting serious here a little bit, right? They also say that by the year 2040, 2045, the computing capacity, now based on the change that is happening, based on where we're headed, the computing capacity of computers by the year 2045 will be greater than, equal to or greater than the entire computing capacity of all human brains combined together. And some philosophers of modern times are calling this as the singularity event. Now, whether we will get there or not is a different question for another time. But this is what the charts and predictions and forecasts are showing us where we are headed. Now, I know you're probably thinking about yourself and thinking, how will you be in 2045? Where will you be in 2045? But let's think about some of the things that'll happen, or the mindset that we need to adapt in order to get there. And one of the things that has happened to us in recent times is, before I do that, I want to talk about the top portion of this chart, which is also very important, is the time period it has taken for different mega innovations to take place. Now, going all the way back 8,000 years, the agricultural revolution happened. But after that, we had the industrial revolution. 120 years after that, we had the invention of the light bulb. 80, 90 years after that, the moon landing. 30 years after that, the World Wide Web was invented. And after the World Wide Web was invented, about 9 years later, the human genome was decoded. And all these mega innovative things happen in a shorter amount of time. So the time period to do big things is changing and decreasing really rapidly, right? Today we're generating we're generating so much data today, like different systems, different things around us, that human history has not created that much data as much as we're creating in 1 year or 6 months. So that pace of data creation is really changing as well. A lot is happening. So let's look at some of the things that have happened in recent times. This is New York. And you can see there's nobody walking on the streets. COVID-19 happened. It's been a big disruptive event that has flattened the world in terms of creating something new. And this is also something that we couldn't have predicted. So in addition to technology, many other things are happening in our world. And beyond this, there's possibly other things happening in your region, your city, your country that we do not control or that will eventually happen. The one thing that I wanted to talk about and I wanted to drive the point here is that change is happening no matter what you do, no matter what you think, no matter which city, which country you're based in. And by the way, we have people logged in from many, many different cities across the world. And this conference is live streamed right now to a worldwide audience. So thank you for being here. So change is something that we cannot ignore. If you go to work with this mindset that change is inevitable, change will happen, change will come to you, then you're on the right track. And many times it's our inability to understand change and to expect change that gives us that rigidity, and you just don't end up going to the next step. And we need to change that mindset right now in order to progress further. I want to talk about technology in specific and the impact of technology on audit and other areas of business. Take a sip of water, drink your coffee, stay engaged, okay? There's a lot of good stuff coming in here that's very relevant to your profession. So I want to talk about some of the mega trends, first of all, that are impacting the future of work. Right now, it's a great time to talk about that because of what we've gone through in the last year and a half. But I really believe that going forward, 2021 onwards, for at least the next decade, these mega trends will shape business, not just audit, not just accounting, but many different industries across the world. In fact, every industry that we see. So the first one is trust. Trust is a fundamental unit of business. If you don't have trust between you and your customers, your vendors and you, nothing can happen. And so any technology that offers trust, creates trust, builds trust is going to be good for business. Number two, algorithms. Algorithms are automated programs that run the world today. They run your search engines, are automated cars. They run your cloud platform, Netflix. Your phone has algorithms running, different algorithms running. And anything that's algorithm driven, algorithm based is going to create good automation, which is good for business. So when you're evaluating technology and looking for technology, look at algorithms and see if there's an algorithmic element in there. We also have something called convergence, and convergence is about different types of technologies coming together and impacting what we do. This is cloud coming together with blockchain, coming together with artificial intelligence, big data. Everything is converging together to create and shape the future. So if you come across a technology that's convergent, then this is something to watch out for. We also have automation, and automation has, since its invention back in the industrial revolutions, automation creates flexibility, automation creates scale, and any technology that automates has always been good, and it will continue to be good. We'll talk about one key technology that creates automation, and that's coming up in the next few minutes. We also have an experiential kind of a world that we're building, whether you have customer experience, government experience, private sector experience, retail experience. Your customers need experiences too. Don't think that customers that come to you are happy the way they work. Everybody out there, and think as a consumer, everybody out there is looking for a better experience, a smoother experience, less friction point. So we can expand on this and think about how do we do that. The next is tokenization, and tokenization is this entire cryptocurrency, non-fungible token revolution that's taking place. But tokenization is about this new form of using money, using digital assets. And you see a lot of digital assets in your work, but tokens are going to change that. Today, you can buy a car based on tokens. You can buy real estate based on tokens. And so the tokenization art, you can buy art with NFTs through tokens. So this is really rapidly increasing. It'll have, and it can have, major impact on your profession. And last but not least is mobility. Anything and everything is going mobile. Systems, technology, processes, our work, everything is going mobile. In fact, the mobile phone and mobile devices are going to change their form, and their form factor is going to change by becoming smaller, by becoming really tiny. And the future is in embedded glasses. It's in 3D displays. It's in holographic displays, and all of those technologies have started coming down the pipeline. So in the next few years, you'll see a lot of that happening. And this is literally the future and the mega trends that'll dictate not just your profession, but many other professions out there in the world. Now, I want to go a little bit deeper into some core areas of technology. The first one I'm going to talk about, and this is a massive simplification of some complex technologies. The first one is literally about this waterfall. I mean, not about the waterfall, but it's about what this waterfall is doing. It's about creating peace of mind. It's about simplification. It's about relaxation. Now, that's my definition of blockchain technology. That's what blockchain does. It creates peace of mind by taking away the risk, taking away the worry, taking away all of these things that you as an audit professional have been struggling with and putting your days and nights into. So blockchain can really help your profession, and we'll talk about how. Now, blockchain matters because nothing like blockchain technology was ever seen before since its invention about a decade, almost 12 years ago. Before that, we've had regular database technologies, RDBMS, different Oracle and Microsoft, and different types of databases where we stored information. But blockchain offered a way to change how we store information, to change how that information is gathered and put into a system. Now, quite agreed that blockchain is not mainstream right now. We're still in a process of understanding where could blockchain be used and how can it be used. And if you haven't seen a lot of blockchain in your profession, you will. In the next few years, blockchain is going to become a major force that's going to shape how information is stored, right? And that's the process of how technology is enabled, how technology life cycle progresses. It undergoes a process where people get used to it. It has to be proven, use cases, and off you go into actually being used at a mass commercial level. Now, blockchain is being seen today in different industries, from e-commerce to microfinance, land ownership, intellectual property rights, crowdfunding, escrow, wagers. Every industry out there can have a practical application of blockchain. For you specifically, some of the elements of blockchain that are useful are smart contracts, a new legally binding framework, a new way of creating an audit trail and saving you tons and tons of time, accurate record keeping, permanent data record. And many people often come up and ask, well, Ian, if blockchain is the holder of trust, will it, is it necessary that information in there is accurate? Well, not necessarily. Blockchain will protect whatever you put in it. You put wrong information in it, it will always hold that wrong information. You put inaccuracies in it, it'll always hold that. So it's the truth portion of blockchain. The trust portion is its ability to protect that information that's in there and to store it in a way that it can never be changed. And that's what blockchain guarantees. It doesn't guarantee the accuracy of information, but it guarantees that that information will always be there. And isn't that a game changer? It is a game changer for the audit profession. Here are some practical applications of blockchain, and I want to give you a few examples so that we know what realistically are the applications, right? The fake Australian beef industry, counterfeit Australian beef industry, is a $2 billion industry. That's a huge amount of money that's being somehow people are being defrauded into buying beef, which is not Australian beef. Now, a company tracks beef from Australia based on blockchain, and they can guarantee that a particular batch of beef is from Australia. You can, as simple as scan the package, and it'll give you all the information of what the farm is, where it came from, when was it shipped, where did it come from. And because of blockchain technology, it's guaranteed that that information is accurate. So just one application of blockchain. Blockchain in the insurance industry. The FBI says that about $40 billion worth of fraud, of insurance fraud, takes place in America per year, $40 billion. Now, if you, as an audit professional, had the systems and the technology to change that $40 billion to zero, how big would that be, right? solving this big puzzle as an audit professional would be a game changer. And you can do that with blockchain technology if, that is, systems of healthcare, systems of health insurance, systems of property insurance were all based on blockchain. We're not there yet. Different companies, different providers are experimenting with this, working on this to figure out how to do this. And there are some extremely great pilots that are underway right now. But $40 billion industry, imagine that. With respect to audit and blockchain, now we'll go back to that information again. You can ensure the rules have been set right? This is not about after the fact that you're going in to check and figure out and audit information, but at the front, at the first point of data entry, that the rules have been set right. Again, smart contracts can help you automate all the processes in your audit process and create a lot of automation and simplicity so that later on you can go in and be the last authority to ensure that everything is accurate, right? It's going to save you a lot of time. So automation is a big part of that. More transactional level accounting done by machines. Reconciliation will be eventually taken over by blockchain. Bookkeeping and record keeping will be replaced by blockchain. Assurance business will be impacted by blockchain. So there's a lot of different elements within the profession that blockchain will directly impact. Now here's some other points that they also say that blockchain technologies may eliminate the need for manual audit. And you might be saying, well, Ian, is that the end of the profession? Is that the end of the line for auditors, right? And on top of that, you add machine learning, which is artificial intelligence, and it can create a rapid amount of automation. So blockchain and AI, are they going to destroy the audit profession, right? And the answer to that is not necessarily, if you think in a different way, right? Now, again, many things within the profession, just like back in the day, 500 years ago, imagine Luca Pacioli, we talked about him a few minutes ago. Luca Pacioli would have said, imagine, this is a scenario. Luca Pacioli says to everybody, what happens when Excel will be invented 500 years from now? What happens when computers will be used and we won't use our fingers and ledgers and these manual books to record information, right? Imagine him saying that, and come back to the time now. Where is the profession now, right? It has dramatically changed. So that's kind of the point here. We have to think differently because there are many opportunities that are opening up. What is the future of assurance? I really believe, and assurance, I connected really with audit. The role of accountants will change from being just financial accountants to becoming technology accountants. You will become a technology auditor. And smart contract design, accounting of digital assets, including NFTs, including cryptocurrencies, is going to, in tokens, which I spoke about earlier, is going to be big. And auditors of today will become digital detectives of tomorrow. You'll have a lot more tools. You'll have blockchain and AI to help you do the audit process in a much faster amount of time and with a lot of time to spend on other things. I want to talk briefly about the future of tax, accounting, digital currencies. I really believe this is an evolutionary era in the digital currency world, cryptocurrencies. They're still unregulated, but slowly there's an adoption that's taking place. But industry needs guidance, and I really believe you as an audit professional, you as an accountant are one of the best experts in the world to create that regulation, to help figure out how to get there, what to do, and what financial systems should do. So please stay connected to the cause and stay connected to what is happening with respect to technology in your profession. They actually did a survey some time ago. Reuters and the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants did a survey, and only 4% of respondents selected blockchain as the disruptor that will have impact on business. And now it's believed that there's going to be a lot more impact from blockchain than machine learning. So not as much from artificial intelligence, but more from blockchain technology. Towards the end of the session, I have some recommendations for you, which you will find handy. I want to talk about the second technology area, which is all about freedom. And this is how I equate artificial intelligence to something. It's about freedom. AI is not just about automating something, but freedom to choose things that you need to do to free up your time from what is taking a majority of your time right now to what you should be doing. Now, artificial intelligence is a little bit complex because it's an umbrella term to talk about at least 100 different things, from voice analysis to neuro-linguistic things to machine learning to other things that just have nothing to do with audit. So when somebody comes up to you and talks about AI and artificial intelligence, ask them, what exactly are you talking about? Because it has 100 different things in it. There are many use cases of AI being used in accounting, in audit, but it can help you automate data entry and data categorization. It can help you spot trends. It can help you with fraud detection. It can help you automate compliance and auditing. It can identify anomalies in financial data. It can automatically authorize and process documents. You have the emergence of AI-based chatbots that can really accelerate that experience side of things and reduce the friction. It can automate accounts payable and receivables processing. So there's many different areas of AI that are emerging right now that will be super helpful for you in the future. I want to talk about the Big Four future readiness strategy and what exactly are the Big Four doing, because they're a big part of the industry in general. And it's important we know what they're doing because, yes, they're inspirational. They're also kind of a beacon of where the profession is headed and what they're doing so that you can learn. If you're an independent firm owner, you're an independent, small, medium, large firm, you want to follow these guys to see what they're doing. So here's some of the things that the Big Four are doing. Now, Deloitte has developed over 30 blockchain-related prototypes. And since 2017, they have multiple blockchain labs across the world where they're figuring out and experimenting on blockchain technology. They're also a member of the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance and the Hyperledger project. A lot of their people, 75% of their staff, are technologists now focusing on design and development. And they're also a major portion of their staff is helping customers with their blockchain journey. This is Deloitte, right? They also have 9 development teams in a global network, multiple practitioners, and big focus on blockchain technology, right? There's got to be a reason for that, and we have to think why. Let's look at KPMG. KPMG predicts that a blockchain will converge with the Internet of Things. They say that it'll finally move past the hype and into reality. And this is last year they've said this. Blockchain will prevent unauthorized access. Adoption will spike across sectors. This is their recommendation to industry. And there's got to be some reason for this that they're talking about it. What about E&Y? E&Y is doing a lot. They're the first advisory firm to accept Bitcoin for their services. They have a product called OpsChain. They have multiple blockchain labs. And similar to everybody else, they are making sizable investments into blockchain. In fact, they invested $100 million just last year into blockchain and crypto asset technologies. And they announced in September 2020 a $1.5 billion investment in technology. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of investment, time, energy, effort, and future direction, which that is indicated by this. Again, they have multiple products that do different things with blockchain, simplifying things, automating things, using blockchain in your profession. And of course, they're acquiring a lot of people, and they've been on a hiring spree, acquisition spree when it comes to getting technology people working for them. PwC is also doing a lot. They're working with Alibaba for food industry supply chain stuff, eliminating fraud there. They are invested in VeChain, a blockchain-based product, and more. In fact, they unveiled the first fintech marketplace some time ago, appointed the first chief data officer, and this just goes to show the direction they're headed in. In fact, the Big Four spend about a collective of $2 billion. That's collective of $2 billion on technology investments, on figuring out what to do with technology. $2 billion is not a lot of money for them, or not a lot of investment, but it's a sizable chunk that can tell us the direction where the profession is headed. And last but not least, this is a news from recent times that the Big Four are gearing up to become crypto and blockchain auditors. And the service giants are investing heavily with cryptocurrency, with blockchain, to audit these, to be able to audit crypto and blockchain. So if you want to ask me one trend that's happening right now in one area of industry that's growing, it's potentially this tokenization, cryptocurrency, digital asset, NFT. You've got to pay attention to that in order to be on the trend of the future. Many areas within accounting are being also commoditized. Many different platforms and some vendors and manufacturers are right there that are creating this commoditization of accounting services, including data keeping, record keeping, reconciliation, tax, audit, assurance, and they're all doing a great job. Everybody is automating something or the other. It just goes to show that there's a lot more attention that's being paid to the accounting industry, to different things within the accounting industry, audit that are being impacted by technology. A lot of these systems are working with artificial intelligence, with automated tracking and keeping of data, using machine learning to collect data and to do all of that. And what this is also doing is changing the mix of people within your firms as to what their roles are. So many entry-level roles are now being automated because data is being collected automatically. So that's creating an impact on how you hire and how people are retained at firms. There's a framework that we recommend, and it's called the Future Readiness Framework. It's about identifying key areas, and there's 7 areas: engagement, learning, people, accountability, culture, collaboration, and execution or implementation. And these 7 areas are fundamentals of how your business is going to be affected by technology, by the future. And we offer a future readiness score where you can track the progress of your organization based on all of these initiatives. So there's definitely something out there that helps track future readiness. I want to talk about recommendations for you, top 6 recommendations for you and your business. Now, first of all, before these recommendations, I really believe there's an opportunity for CPAs, for audit professionals out there, again, reiterating, as auditors of smart contracts, as oracles of smart contracts, as service auditors for consortium blockchains, and there's different types of blockchains, but this is the future of audit. You will serve as the administrator. So there's the administrator function for blockchains. There's the arbitration function of blockchains. And all of these are really, really highly recommended from me as a futurist to you as an audit professional, that you've got to start looking into blockchain as the one technology area. If you want to start with, you've got to explore these and figure out and master what is happening with blockchain and how it can impact your profession. Now, here are my recommendations for you. Number 1 is build knowledge. You've got to start building knowledge right now. And this is not only doing what is the minimum mandatory required learning for your credentials, but this is above and beyond, because guess what? And this is the truth, that many different bodies are still trying to catch up with the change that technology is creating. These bodies that certify accountants and you are still trying to put together curriculum for education and learning. But you can get started before anybody else and work on acquiring knowledge and skills that you need for the future. Start learning about blockchain. Train people on blockchain before you accept any blockchain work. And you will have to build your expertise in blockchain-related audit, blockchain-related accounting, and the practice. And better understand governance and the path forward. And you have to get started on that right away. Number 2 is start planning. The future of audit is at the planning stage of blockchain. It's not after the fact that blockchain has already been designed, a client is already using it, but it's when they are putting it together, when the systems are being put together, you will be called as the expert in audit to help create that infrastructure, help create that database based on what you say should be done in terms of audit. So your need will start when the client kicks off the project, and you've got to know exactly what you're talking about. And for that, you've got to go back to point number one, which is start learning and developing this blockchain expertise right away. Number three is focus on continuous audit. And as your audit methodology, blockchain is all about real-time information. It's information in real time. And by focusing on continuous audit, it'll help you understand blockchain better and focus on blockchain better. Experiment with it, connect with peers, embark on a pilot project. There are many people, many companies, many vendors, technologists that will jump on the opportunity to work with you on any project if it's around blockchain, because guess what? The industry is hungry for pilot projects, and you could be the leader in doing that where you are. Number four, prudence and risk. You've got to be a little bit more resilient. I know, with all due respect, and I respect all of you a lot, you've got to be a little bit more riskier in taking the step forward, right? Because times are changing really fast. And going back to the beginning of my session, we talked about change and how fast change is happening. I really believe we've got to be first to market. You can be the first to market as a blockchain audit firm. You can be the first to market as a trusted service provider for audit with expertise in blockchain. And if there's nobody out there in the market doing that, then it can be you. So you've got to go get up and jump on that. So reduce your risk, resilience, build up your resilience a little bit, and increase and enhance your speed and agility to go to market at the same time. No, build standards. Next point, build standards. Technology is great, but we need standards. And as I said before, the standards are still being developed. So you've got to go back and talk to all these governing bodies in Europe, in Asia, in America, in your region that are working on audit as a professional, and go and talk to them and tell them, hey, what's happening with regulations? Can we be part of the dialogue? Be part of your associations, be part of your accounting and audit groups and advisory groups that come together and talk about the future, and be aggressive about that. And last but not least is industry know-how. You as auditors are extremely well-versed in the business of your clients. You know your clients really well. You know industries really, really well. And this information, this knowledge that you possess is extremely useful in creating those use cases, in figuring out the future of the industry. And so you've got to start learning it and teaching others about it. And that's how this change will start happening. And that's all I have for you. I hope this recommendation and these recommendations help you progress further. They help you go beyond where you are right now as an audit professional. And the future, the 5 to 10 years future of your firm, is in using technology to simplify lives, enhance your businesses, add more value to your customers and clients, and make the world of audit a better place, a happier place, so that you can enjoy your profession more and you can expand your practices more. I think that's what the future has to be all about. Again, my name is Ian Khan. It's been such a pleasure and privilege to present in front of you in the limited amount of time that we have. Send me your questions. Tell me about your challenges. Email me, connect with me on LinkedIn, visit my website. I'm yours. And thanks to ACI for putting together this session. And it's been a very big pleasure to talk about some of the technological things and changes that are taking place in your profession. I wish you all the best.
All right, Ian, thank you very much. That was a great presentation. And, a couple of things were going on while you were giving your talk. One thing is we are getting a band of Tropical Storm Claudette over us. So if you heard a rumbling sound, that wasn't my stomach. I did eat lunch. That's a tropical thunderstorm outside. But Ian did a great job ignoring that and jumping right into his topic. The other thing that happened was we got some questions from our viewers, people like you, because this is a live event. Type your questions in, we'll see them, and make sure we get them over to Ian. So we want to take a little time to do some Q&A and answer some of those questions. And I think, Hernan, you have a few questions as well, so we'll tackle all of that. Let's start with the first one. This one comes from Gary in Chicago, and he asked, what new skills will be required for people in our profession? Now, I know you touched on this a bit in your talk, so maybe a couple of the more important, the ones you think are more significant?
I think the skill to learn new things, now this has got nothing to do with audit, but the skill to learn new things faster is going to be very important. I know many people and many leaders talk about it. Bill Gates talks about it, and Warren Buffett talks about it. But the skill to absorb information faster is very important because you will learn faster. You'll learn how to implement things faster. You can lead your teams faster. So here's a recommendation: read a book every week. Number two, join a course on ACI Learning, if you have one here, on technology or other platforms that can help you enhance, because you've got to broaden your knowledge set as well. So start learning faster and don't extend it too long because the time period is short. Become a faster learner right away.
Building on that, when we learn, we're obviously tackling something new to us. And you mentioned how you would encourage auditors out there to take a little more risk, right? And when I heard that, I thought, ooh, those are fighting words. We're asking an auditor to take risk and try new things. How long do you wait before you accept a new technology? Or how do you know whether a technology is considered stable enough to implement and not just a passing fad?
Of course, many different bodies such as Gartner and analyst firms, they come out with technology adoption curves, and Gartner does one where it shows the technology curve. They show it's being adopted. Okay, it's going through a trough of disillusionment. Okay, now it's going up and it's being adopted. And many other formats exist. Technology goes through a process of initially being tested in a very simple manner. Early adopters will test it and figure out, hey, this is exciting. Let's go and test this thing out. Let's see if it works. And these are your early adopters. You then have the majority. The majority starts adopting it, and majority says, hey, somebody's tested it already. It works. We think this is for us. Let's go use it and let's put it into production. And those are the majority. And then you have laggards. Laggards take ages and ages and ages before they move on, before they adopt something. And typically they are the ones who are suffering. They're the ones who are challenged in different areas of business. So if you can be the early adopter, be the early adopter. And it's hard to say what the early adoption time with technology is. It could be a few weeks to a few months to a few years, but depending on the technology, go and look it up and see how fast are things happening within industry, how fast are things being developed. I showed a few examples with the Big Four that they're putting billions of dollars in a blockchain as an example, and it means something significant is happening there. I don't expect a mature product, and you already have mature products in blockchain and accounting by one of these. I don't expect it to take a decade. I expect it to happen in maybe the next 1 to 3 years, that there's a few different stable accounting industry or audit products with blockchain out there. But if you want to get there, you've got to start thinking and becoming an early adopter right now. So really, depending on the technology area, it could be a year or two before it's mature. But start experimenting, and asking questions is free. Go call up your vendors and ask them every question you have, and they'll be more than happy, I'm sure, to talk to you.
Now, Hernan, I'd be curious for your take on that, because you are somebody who's very, very involved in the audit industry and deal with a lot of the changes that occur over the years. So when you hear about new things like blockchain, what's your process for evaluating whether it's time or not?
I think every organization will need to assess their condition and their resources and their needs. And as we see this evolving over time, I think that's what's going to happen is we're going to start to see more companies adopting it. And everyone wants to keep up. So from that perspective, then looking in terms of how is this affecting my company, how is this affecting my industry, and how are we going to remain competitive? As auditors, we need to support the business. So from that perspective, then a very important aspect of this is making sure you're always paying attention, learning, first of all, like was mentioned, but also looking in terms of where's my organization doing in relation to my industry and how I can support them as they go forward.
Yeah, I know the concept of an immutable ledger, which is what blockchain offers. That's a real great thing for an auditor to have. But trying a cutting edge, late breaking technology, it's not. So it's kind of a pros and cons.
I want to add something if I can.
Sure.
I'd like to add something that many times we have a shiny technology and we think it's going to solve all problems, and that is not the way to go about adopting technology. Please do not look for a hot trend, hot technology and say, hey, how can we use this? Do not do that. Instead, focus on the problems and challenges you're facing, problems and challenges and opportunities your customers have, and then go and look for a technology that solves it. Maybe blockchain is not for your firm. Maybe artificial intelligence is not for your customers. But generally, look at the problem first and then find out the way to solve it.
I like what was just mentioned because from that perspective, in terms of the investment, of course, that's very important because we need to be pragmatic. We need to be realistic about what affects us and how we're going to address those. One of the things that I also like is this idea of peace of mind. I like how that was simplified in very concise terms, but that's something that we're always pursuing. That's one of the key things about auditors and trying to provide assurance. And a big part of that is being able to identify what technologies, processes, mechanisms are going to give us as auditors, but more importantly and more broadly, the board of directors and the C-suite, the kinds of assurance that they need. And of course, investors can't be ignored. So they are always looking at these. We're looking at financial statements. Many organizations are definitely looking at these and always challenged to make sure that their financial statements are going to reflect the truth as best they can, always addressing the changes that happen in our world. So from that perspective, how can blockchain and similar technologies provide the peace of mind, the assurance that is necessary so every stakeholder involved is going to feel more comfortable with what's happening and how we're prepared for the future?
All right, and Ian, I missed it a moment ago, so I apologize for it, but Gary's question was actually a two-part question, and the second part is one that I get quite a lot, asking about the difference between machine learning and AI, especially in the audit space. I know in many industries, people use these terms interchangeably, and you address them, as a big cluster of topics in the talk. But how do you differentiate machine learning and AI for people?
So artificial intelligence is a big umbrella term, just as cloud is. If I were to say computers are changing the world, it's a very big term to use for so many other things that computers in general can stand for, right? In a similar way, artificial intelligence is a big umbrella term that has hundreds of different parts in it. Machine learning is one piece of it. And there's, for example, the voice side of artificial intelligence, where voice synthesis, reproduction of voice, image creation, production, and that the deep fakes, you've probably seen those. That's another area. Machine learning is specifically where technology or a subset of artificial intelligence is used to learn from data sets, many different data sets. The machine or computer or system learns from those data sets, and then it's able to create decisions based on what it has learned. And that's roughly what machine learning is. And AI could be this data set technology, this machine learning, working with voice, working with image recognition, working with some other system of automation, even with other systems, for example, blockchain or cloud, to make a bigger change or a bigger result happen.
While we're on the topic of technologies that get confused a lot of people combine the idea of blockchain with Bitcoin. They just treat them as one and the same, when they're really two different things. Bitcoin relies on blockchain. Blockchain does not rely on Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is a little controversial. We have a number of governments that are passing regulations to restrict its use. And that's making people a little bit timid or afraid to implement blockchain in a meaningful way because they feel like it might be potentially banned or canceled. What's your feeling on that? I don't know about blockchain's future. We kind of do know about blockchain's future. It's going to be around, but I don't know about Bitcoin's future. So do you think one will impact the other?
So Bitcoin is a creation or a subset of blockchain. Blockchain is the foundation, and Bitcoin is just one of the outcomes of blockchain technology. Another outcome of blockchain technology is non-fungible tokens. So there's many elements of this mix that we have called blockchain, and you can make cookies out of it, you can make cakes out of it, you can make pastries out of it. So that's the flour mix that we have called blockchain. Now, in terms of the future of Bitcoin, I believe we're in the evolution phase of cryptocurrencies, of a new digital asset that's being created. And it's not just Bitcoin, it's many other digital currencies. In recent days, if you're following news, and if everybody who's watching is following news, El Salvador recently adopted Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as a form of payment. Another country a few weeks ago adopted it. So you're seeing some small nations, some small countries adopt cryptocurrency as another form of payment. Why? And the question is, why would you do that? It's because the promise of Bitcoin, the promise of cryptocurrency as a deregulated asset class that can be used as a currency is big. And for countries whose financial systems, monetary systems have collapsed, or they need an alternative somehow, it's very attractive to use cryptocurrency as a form of payment. Now, in the rest of the world, the developed world, with stable economies, with mega trillion dollar economies, it's kind of difficult to switch our systems and say, we don't need fiat currency and money anymore. Let's switch to cryptocurrencies. It's not going to happen that simply. And I'm not saying it should happen, but it's going to be a big thing because fiat currency has arrived here as a result of hundreds of years of work by monetary agencies. You have a structure, you have policies, physical policies, global economies are tied because of that. Trade and commerce are connected because of that, commodities and so on. And so it's difficult to just switch that off. I really believe, though, that cryptocurrencies and this new digital asset class is going to play a significant role in the future, in the near and far future. I'm actually directing a documentary now called The Bitcoin Dilemma to answer this exact question as to what should we do with Bitcoin. So that'll come out in the next month or two. I'd also recommend viewers to watch a documentary called Blockchain City. It's on YouTube, it's on Amazon Prime. It's my documentary that I came out with a couple of years ago, and it'll answer a lot of questions with blockchain and what this entire blockchain revolution is. As far as my outlook for cryptocurrencies, I think we need to study them and figure out what role do they play.
If you like this series, subscribe to the ACI Learning YouTube channel to enjoy more audit-related content.